excited about this Cardinals team. They are a game over 500, and they are.
And it feels like 10.
They are shooting to the moon.
Sure.
That was a fun game.
I'm happy for them, yes. Seriously.
Yeah.
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 Last night was that was quite a drama
It's a
display.
damn good game.
How about Dylan Carlson coming up with the dagger?
Yeah.
Well, he's played a lot better. He was injured, then he didn't play, and he didn't look like himself. He was a guy who was one of their top prospects. Been a while, and now he's getting a little playing time, starting to hit, and he actually looks like he can play the outfield again, which was, I thought, one of his strong points coming up. And last night, a laser of a throw. I didn't think he had a shot, but
that was a dart
home to prevent the tying run from scoring. A lot of things happened last night that were interesting, and some were fun, some weren't so fun. I was wondering if you guys were talking about Ollie not going longer with Sonny. I saw that on the internet, so a lot of people were curious about that.
Yeah, people were chirping a little bit. Of course, he takes shrapnel no matter what. But Sonny was cooking there for a bit, but then he started getting knocked around, didn't he? So it threw JoJo in there, and he got lit up, but it all worked out.
JoJo has been really good. He did get knocked around. I didn't see that coming. I was wondering about Sonny because, he was just getting rid of guys quick. His pitch count was low. He was flying through the batting order. And then they had that big inning where he had to sit for like 18 minutes. And I wondered if that would have – the funny thing is, so Ollie explained his reasoning for giving the hook to Sonny was that, look, he was sitting there a long time. He's a guy with the hamstring, and if we end up losing one of our key starters, we're going to be in big trouble. So I thought, I'll get him out of there. And when I saw Ollie come and take the ball, it didn't look like Sonny was that ticked off. Maybe that's just me. Sonny said he had the mindset because he was getting a lot of guys out of there quickly, wasn't going deep into counts, and his pitch count was low, that his mindset was going the whole game. I just wonder, though, if he also knows maybe I should be careful because we're apparently in this for the long haul, so that maybe coming out at this juncture would be prudent. And, you see Mason Wynn hitting a homer. The game was like loaded with like bunts and sacks and everything. And he was like, forget this. I'm homering here to give us a cushion. Almost wasn't enough of a cushion. And he did it with 2 strikes, which is something for a young player to be able to generate offense with 2 strikes. Pretty remarkable. So a lot of good things went on in that game. There was a Siani stolen base that seemed out of place where he got thrown out. But like you said, Cam, it all worked out for him. There was just a lot of things to break down in that ball game last night, a lot of weird things. But the important thing is the Marlins are not great.
Nope.
Not great at all. And the crowd there wasn't so good. And tonight they have there's a Stanley Cup game, Cam. I have a feeling, and they moved the start time up for tonight's Marlins game. I have a feeling there's not going to be a lot of people in the stands.
Oh, man.
Is there a chance they might have the game on at the game?
That place is a dump, though. It looks like a dump.
It's not great. It's not really that dumpy. They did get that monstrosity in center field out of there. They put it outside the stadium, so that's good. It's not a great ballpark. I feel bad for Skip, too. Skip had to, challenge, 1 million plays, and he was right on, 4 straight. Plus, they got rid of one of their best hitters, the Marlins. They got a lot of pitchers that are injured. It's just not great, and Skip doesn't look so happy. And then there was that story in the offseason. They took away the option, which I think makes Skip happy. Skip will be managing somewhere else next year. I look forward to chatting with him today.
That's what I was going to ask you and see if he's going to catch up with him, see how things are going. I guess there's worse place to live if it's going downhill, but
let me just tell you something. Skip, if we have cameras rolling, he's not going to kill anything because you're always, trying to impress the next hire, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to the place you're currently in. I have a feeling off camera he might have a different take on the situation. Feel bad for him. The good thing now is that all these people that wanted Ollie fired and bring in Skip, well, the Cardinals are are showing a little bit of what they can be. Hopefully it's sustainable. We will see. Very curious, though. So Giovanni Gallegos had an impingement, a shoulder impingement. That wasn't having a very good season up here. I think his ERA was 400. He had the impingement, which a lot of times the shoulder impingement is what happens when a pitcher isn't pitching well and they're looking for a medical issue that maybe not.
You're looking a little impinged, Gio.
The ERA impingement.
Yeah, so then he goes to AA and AAA. I think it was a total of 6 appearances where his ERA is 11 and didn't look good. And now he's back. So he's with the team. And I was like, what are they going to do with him? No one knew. Gio says he's fine, by the way, and ready to go.
Check still cashing.
I was waiting for some sort of roster move, but didn't happen. So I think what they're saying is he'll throw a bullpen, and then we'll assess where he is. I think they were kind of buying time with that. Gio wants to come back and pitch, says he was working on things in the minors. We've heard that before. Don't look at the results or the ERA. I was working on some things. All right, you take it at face value. But now the Cards and the Cardinal bullpen has been, really good. Like Fernandez last night was key. 2 scoreless, punching out a guy with runners in scoring position. But now they have to make a decision on what to do with Gio. So we might find out about that today.
What about that ball that got stuck underneath the? What was that? Has that ever happened before? You tweeted about it, Charlie, didn't you?
Oh, I just find it funny that why would you craft the wall in a way where the ball could get stuck?
Exactly.
And I know it's happened before, but when it happened last night, I just thought, why would you do that? It just seems like you shouldn't do that.
Well, I mean, we've seen weird things. I once saw a ball stick to Yadier Molina's chest protector. You can't things happen. Balls find crevices. I get it. I just wonder if was it stuck under there or was it wedged?
You could have got that.
I think Dylan's going to be getting the best supporting actor nod when that comes up.
That was smart to try to keep him in second.
Because if a ball's under there, like I was discussing with some of the people that know better than me, like the rule there. Like you don't have to offer at the ball if you think it's stuck. You just hold your hands up, and then he held his arms up. Then the umpires held their arms up, and then the runner stopped running. So Dylan did his job right there.
Yeah.
Whether the ball was actually lodged in there or could be lodged in there, I don't really know. I couldn't see that good, and even on the replay, I couldn't tell. I just think Carlson did the right thing. If you think it's wedged in there, then don't risk it by going after it, and then all of a sudden, no, he wanted to get that ball out of there. Whatever, just say it's wedged. It's wedged in there. Can't get it. That was smart.
Well, Kat, I want to go back to the staff though. You talked about Gio coming back in and how what that fit looks like. You've also got Steven Matz, who's out on rehab right now, who could be in a similar situation where he's coming back in. You got to find a place there. It just seems like a lot of the turnaround and some of the things that have happened over the last few weeks have happened with a few people who weren't performing being out of the mix, but now you've got to figure out a way to fit them back into it. What's the obligation there for those guys to be put back to where they left off at, and how do you really work that out while keeping what you've got that's working on the team since they left in place?
Well, if you make a lot of money, then you'll get your job back. Isn't that how it works? No,
you're 100% right. You're 100% right, but I mean...
Listen, but here's the thing. Matz hasn't shown that, that spot is mine in the rotation. However, Palante, who's had, 3 or 4 starts, 3 of them have been pretty solid, although he hasn't gone deep. Mm-hmm. I think they question whether or not he's sustainable in the rotation, which might make them more willing to bring Matz back and put him in the rotation and see how he does. Listen, Matz was good in the bullpen, and if things are going well, I'm not going to shake up the apple cart. I'll put him in the bullpen and see what they can do with Palante. And eventually, the truth is their starting rotation is a little aged, a little bit. Oh, but they're in their prime generally, right?
It's closer to my age than Cole's.
Right. At some point, someone's going to tweak something. You're going to need another starter. I mean, that's my biggest concern about this ball club outside of the big boys not hitting, is what happens if one of the guys who have been really important, like Gibson or Sonny, goes down. Then you gotta slap someone else in there, and they don't have a ton of options. So I would say having a stretched out Matz is good protection. I just don't know if I would insert him right back into the rotation. To your point.
Well, and I think that when you look at where the team's at now, obviously the National League is kind of flat in general. Well, outside of a couple of teams that are really up well over 500. So the trade deadline coming up soon enough is going to be interesting because that's a pretty easy place, in my opinion, that the Cardinals should be focused on, is trying to fortify that rotation. Now, you can decide how big of an add you want to make into it and how big of a impact arm you can get your hands on. Because the other thing, when you have these years where everybody's kind of hanging around and competing in the same place, sometimes it's harder to make a move in that environment because more people could be in or could be out. So for you, when you look at where it's at right now and to the point you just made about the rotation, but also looking at the everyday lineup and how there's still some unresolved space there, what is the place that this team's got to be keeping its eye on in the market over the next few weeks if they're going to really get in on being buyers going down the stretch?
Starting pitching, and I think they could use a right-handed bat. I was thinking for a while they probably need another catcher with more big league experience. Except Wilson is starting a rehab today, and his comeback from a shattered forearm looked like it was going to be devastating. It's kind of remarkable, and also Paez, like the emergence of Paez, not so much as an offensive guy, even though he's hit a couple of homers, but the way he's able to frame pitches and steal strikes. I know they talk about it on the broadcast a lot, but it's true. I've talked to some of the pitchers. Mason Wynn told me about Paez. He said, and he stopped himself as he was going there and then kept going anyway because I could tell mentally he's like, I'm saying it. He said, he's the best receiver I've ever worked with, I've ever seen. And he pitched, when they were thinking of him briefly as a two-way guy. And he was the first guy to say how good Paez is. And then you see the way he's able to steal strikes here and there. He's got a pretty good throwing arm, which Herrera, who's got a good bat, doesn't have much of a throwing arm. But now that Wilson's coming back, maybe they don't need a catcher, but definitely a right-handed bat. And the other thing, guys, and I got a text from the Cardinals, so I have to say this because they knew I was coming on the air. You have injured guys coming back. That's like making a trade.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for reminding us. That's important.
Yeah, I had to say it. The other guy I think they really miss is Newt. Just from energy, a guy who gets on base, has a little power, seemed to be coming around before he got hurt again. I don't know when he's coming back. And then you got the Tommy Edman thing. He's in Jupiter doing some work. I don't think he's going to be back before the All-Star break.
I remember him.
But
Yeah, he was a Cardinal.
I mean, they got a lot of guys that haven't contributed that maybe can and change the look. The truth is true. Like when they play bad teams, and you look at the bad teams' bottom of their lineups, they got guys in 118, 204. So do the Cardinals. And if they had guys healthy or made a trade, it shouldn't be like that. When you go to your bench and you can bring in a guy who's got a little power or who is a threat, that's a good thing. Like the only way the Cardinals have like a legitimate guy coming off the bench is when they're resting guys, and then they can bring them in as bench hitters. So I do think there's areas where the Cardinals could improve that roster. I definitely think a starter and maybe a right-handed bat.
Well, the concept of a catcher is interesting because Wilson, that injury he took to that point, that was nasty. I would almost be careful with how much I've got him back behind the dish because, that's such a brutal position and so many random things can happen to you back there. But they've made this turnaround, if you will, without him in the lineup. And he was the only guy generating much for the team when he went out. So with some of the guys that have turned around in that time, if you can add his bat back in, for me, I 100% agree with the perception of what Paez has brought. And it's interesting to hear Mason's outlook on that because he is commanding that staff and he's making a difference behind the plate. I would almost be happier with not prioritizing Wilson being behind the plate for a while still when he gets back and just let him swing because that's the real ad that could really be what puts the team over.
Yeah, when I say starting pitching right-handed bat, they need that. They need Wilson's bat in the lineup, no question. I agree with you. I think Pages, in a short period of time, has really changed the Cardinals' outlook on who should be behind the plate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Herrera's a good young player who can hit. He just doesn't have all the tools that you're looking for out of your everyday catcher in terms of, pitch framing and throwing guys out. Good bat, but Wilson has he is a key right-handed bat in that lineup. So even if he's not behind the plate, he can help, and I'm with you on that.
Jimmy, I got to apologize to you, man. When I was at the Cardinal game the other day with Kate's family, which had a lovely time, I didn't look. You said that you might come up and see me or something, and I'm like, no, he's not. Like, I had my phone put away, and Jimmy texted me like 5 times.
Oh, man.
And I didn't look. No, you should be proud of me. I didn't look at my phone for 2 hours.
You did a me.
No.
I abandoned Jimmy when he came to see me at the game, too.
That's unacceptable.
You were present.
Yeah.
You were present in the moment.
That's exactly right.
Let me tell you something, and Maddie knows this.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm working, I'm kind of locked into a spot. Now, when we're home, I'm up in the booth. I'm not, I can move around more. But anyone who's at the game, I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to come see you. Come see us. Come see me. Okay. So then you go, I'll try to do it like right after pregame, like early on. I have time. And I don't have to be anywhere. And no one's in their seat when they're supposed to be. And then never. And then so I want to see Cam and say hello. I already had a bag where I was going to put some waters and some chips in there and bring you snacks. And I'm like, Cam, where you at?
I know.
Didn't hear back. And then he's like, oh, now I'll look at my phone. Now you come.
I know.
To me. Well, I'm working, dog.
I know. You weren't even supposed to work that day, and you still wanted to come.
Did you used to skate off the ice and go see guys in the stand during the second period?
No, they wait for me afterwards after they yelled at Andy Murray.
Oh, okay.
So Andy Murray would notice.
Same thing.
And then they'd see me with him.
In 55 jerseys.
Eureka
Eureka High School
Yeah. I'm with Cam.
class of 2002 shirts.
Yes, exactly.
Did you enjoy it, Cam?
Yes.
Did you enjoy it?
Yes, I mean, we had a great time, man. The parking was easy, walking in, just so many things to do, so many restaurants. Busch Stadium looked beautiful. Our seats were great.
But couldn't you breathe in the failure? I mean, I think the crowd there was like 4,000 people.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
And,
There was
and
people
Fire
there.
Ollie. Like, couldn't you just bask in the negativity?
I tried to be negative, but they had a good game. I tried to be negative. I was yelling at people. I was bumping into people, cussing at everybody. It just nothing caught on. So then I just sat there and enjoyed. The breeze was coming through. It was nice. I had a nice time. Kate, we stayed the whole time.
I'm glad they're out of town this week because it is a heater out there right now.
Oh, man, dude. It's hot, man. I mean, I don't know how Jimmy does it sometimes.